Also possible that, as far as Hype knows right now, he's playing against a handlock.
You know, that's the more common deck in a lot of players' lists these days. Handlock has been really popular since the nerfs and since Nax has come out. So Zoo may take him a little bit off guard. We'll have to wait and see.
Zoo, of course, the more aggressive form of Warlock that we commonly see.
Oh, nice draw. Gets right into the Flame Imp right off the bat.
All right, so a few choices already presented to his opponent, or sorry, to Stunner rather. And I mean, Flame Imp, of course, is one of the best draws to start on turn 1, but do you use the coin here, Reels?
I think it is worth it to get the Undertaker out there ready to go. It won't leave him with a great play besides just playing the egg next turn, which he's probably still okay with. There's no reason not to get it rolling as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't want to drop any tempo early on to Priest, because Priest does have ways to kind of bring it back. It can be a very good anti. He's going to have to use one right off the bat. Yeah. He's got the injured Blade Master a bit later, but right now he needs to worry about this board right now. Unfortunately, no way to take out either of those minions. Yeah, that changed.
Great synergy with spell cards. The Power Word Shield gives it a 1 damage sweep to buff the Northshire Cleric.
I think that's fine, and I really agree with attacking this Undertaker as well, too, because getting it down to a 1-1 makes it a lot easier with Death Rattle that get played.
But there is a way for the Zoo player to immediately respond with this abusive Sarge deny with the Priest.
Yeah, well, that's really it, isn't it, Reels? I mean, denying the draw is...
That Northshire Cleric right away. All of his minions are at 1 health, so that Wild Pyro.
Oh, man, you're right. He doesn't... Okay, he does. He could activate with Circle of Healing. No, that wouldn't work, because that would heal up the Undertaker and the Imp before it took damage, though.
Right.
So,
right.
1 mana away from... no, 2 mana away from doing it with Thought Steal. So a tough turn, actually. Oh, man. What would you do, Reels, in this case?
Well, he definitely has more than one option here. There's more than one way to play it.
Yeah.
He can play the injured Blade Master and allow, hopefully, it to be traded into and take away some of the damage off of the board for the Zoo player. Right now, he's probably thinking about what his best way to survive until turn 5 is and get that Holy Nova.
Well, that's it. And I think maybe the injured Blade Master wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd even be tempted to possibly Circle of Healing. Even if you're healing the Flame Imp and the Undertaker, it gives your Blade Master more opportunity to trade with what's on the board. You need that thing to last as long as it can.
It's definitely a good option that he has.
It's an awkward turn, though, either way. Like, this is a messy one.
How valuable, though, is it to keep Circle of Healing with the Arcanine Soul Priest?
Yeah. You
because
might need it later.
The board wipes are the most important thing for the Priest in this matchup, but he chooses to go for it.
I do like this. I mean, you've got a Holy Nova coming in 2 turns. You don't necessarily know you're going to have an Arcanine Soul Priest coming out, so why not make it harder for your opponent to trade? He just used both his Abusive Sergeants, so to do something with this, he'd probably have to play like a Wolf or maybe like a Soulfire or something, too. So I like that play.
Yeah, it takes usually more than 1 card to trade for that injured Blade Master.
I think it was a good choice. Looks like he will get a lot out of that Blade Master. Look at that.
Wow.
That was worth its weight in gold right there.
Blade Master Circle, 2 cards, takes out 3 from his opponent.
Yeah.
He's still got the Undertaker going, and Holy Nova was his best defense against what was happening, and he has 2 eggs.
Well, that's the thing, is the egg definitely hurts the Holy Nova a little bit, because you don't want to give your opponent those 4/4 Nerubians that come out of it. But I don't know, desperate times, man. This is another rough turn. This is just such an awkward game for our Priest player here.
The good news is that he's still at a very healthy life total.
Yeah.
Even if he takes a couple more hits, he'll be all right. He'll have time to find something to do. He may even spend the turn Thought Stealing.
I think I'd Thought Steal this turn, yeah, I agree.
You could just play the Wild Pyro and force a trade with that as well, and just heal yourself up and buy time.
Yeah, but with an Undertaker out there already, I feel like you could lose the Pyromancer very easily and you're not gaining much. Versus Thought Steal, you might gain a lot. I mean, you never know what you might take. You get like a Soulfire to immediately grab you some presence back on the board.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it right now, there's a minimum of 3 incoming damage, right? He's going to go ahead and play the Pyromancer and heal anyway. But he would have come into turn 5 with a few more cards. We'll see how this works out for him, because that Pyromancer is really vulnerable right now.
Oh, dude. He's got an egg activator with Dark Iron Dwarf.
Yeah.
This is looking bad for Hyped.
This is looking so rough, man.
2 4-attack creatures.
He's weighing if he wants to play that second egg out there, because he knows turn 5 is coming. And as a Priest, you might consider Holy Novaing only 1 egg out, but if he gets that second egg out, he might be thinking to himself, all right, if Holy Nova is coming, this is way better for me than it is for Hyped. So maybe you do play this egg and life tap this turn too. We'll have to see what he decides. I think leaving the Pyromancer out there is a little bit dangerous, but you don't necessarily want to trade your Undertaker for that. Okay,
well, the
so
Undertaker will get slight buff. In fact, Haunted Creeper is another alternative as well.
Yeah, that actually worked out really well, and he had Death Rattle anyway, so he'll be able to trade.
The eggs really do help keep him safe from the AE.
Yeah.
If he had played the Dark Iron Dwarf, he would have had an immediate, very powerful presence, but it would have been able to eventually be cleared.
There's the Arcanine Soul Priest draw, and he's going to go ahead and Thought Steal this turn, see what he gets, and not a lot of helpful stuff right now, but going forward, these minions might be valuable. He's still at 30 health, too, so... Yeah,
the good news is that he's at full health, right?
Yeah.
And that he's still in a position where he can take a few damage. The board's not extremely threatening compared to what the Warlock player could be doing with 8+ damage per turn.
Well, it's bad, but it could be worse. I mean, one thing with the Naxxramas Zoo is that it's really actually slowed Zoo down. Like the Zoo decks that came out, the ones that had a lot of fast minions, a lot of aggression, before the cards from Naxxramas, before the Nerubian Eggs and the Haunted Creepers and all that, that was a faster version of this deck. Now, you know, you really do have a little bit more time in the early and mid game, and we're really seeing that. I mean, his opponent hasn't lost any health effectively over the course of the game. It's gone down and up a little bit, but overall, you know, Hype's still in a great spot despite the board.
Bad but could be worse. That perfectly describes my ladder experience every single day on Hearthstone.
Pretty much me too. Yeah, that's true. I should stop playing those aggro shaman decks.
It looks like he's just going to decide to play the Direwolf Alpha. I'm curious to see if he'll life tap or play the Creeper. He's just going to go for the Creeper, apparently. Just get as much damage in as he can right now. He still leaves the Dark Iron Dwarf back, so if the Wolf were to die, he still has a way to activate his egg or trade up with something. Puts as many resources onto the board as he can.
Even a big board clear now, too, would still leave him with a lot of tokens coming out of the Haunted Creeper and the 2 Nerubian Eggs as well. So he's kind of immune to board clear in a lot of ways right now.
It is very, very scary for Hype, but he finally gets to take out that Undertaker. The turn 1 Undertaker is gone. That threat is off the table. There's still some damage out there, and definitely a lot of potential to get more resources with Life Tap.
Yeah, Knife Juggler's a little bit late to the party, but better late than never. It's a good board to show up on. And so does he go ahead and trade with one of his eggs here? I feel like it's a pretty decent opportunity, and he can be reasonably sure that his opponent doesn't have a Circle of Healing in his hand because it wasn't used.
This juggle can be the difference between getting the extra damage and making a more resilient board, but he whiffs. And that could be end up the damage that he really wants to keep, because then the Holy Nova has one less target that it has to worry about killing.
Yeah. And I kind of like this, actually, trading in with the Voidwalker instead. You don't need to really worry about taunt from this position as far as Stunner has. Is he going to actually just go to face here?
Interesting.
No way.
I like the trade because your opponent may have a Circle of Healing, and he might have been saving it for the Nerubians to actually come out. So I still think you got to trade. I like that. Yeah.
Well, this is a complicated board. Do you want...
Oh, no!
The Circle of Healing comes, and again, it's just been a story of missed connections.
Yeah.
Circle of Healing in the opening hand, Akanai off the next 3 to draw Circle of Healing, the draw after Akanai dies.
So what would you do this turn then? I mean, he's got 2 Holy Novas in his hand. I mean, he has some decent options as far as minions he can play. Do you go for the taunt or do you go for the clear?
Clear with a quotation marks around it, because you still leave a lot on the board.
Yeah, Holy Nova would, I mean, it would leave you with, 2 Nerubians and a Dark Iron Dwarf, and you'd have a couple Spectral Spiders off of the Haunted Creeper as well.
That's 14 damage.
Yeah, I think you still want to at least do it.
Oh, man, not a good position at all. In fact, the 2-card combination of Soulfire Doomguard could straight up end the game.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, there's a Harvest Golem, so won't be this turn. Oh, he's running Void Terror. Interesting. Okay, yeah. This is actually something that I've seen in a lot of decks out in Korea, actually. A lot of the Korean players love Void Terror, but I haven't seen it a lot in the NA and EU lists. Interesting.
I wonder if that
this
means
is from
that
AU,
there's
though.
also Power Overwhelming in the deck, too, which is also a common thing to do when you do have Void Terror and
I
eggs.
would not be surprised. I mean, with the eggs especially, usually run at least one, right? So that's interesting.
It does add a lot more punch to the deck.
Yeah.
Right now, he's definitely going to get to continue to smash in. He's got so many 4-power guys here. And interestingly enough, he is thinking about playing the Void Terror on the 1/1s, which actually would play very well against his opponent's second Nova that he doesn't know he has.
Yeah, I would agree there. That's certainly what he's thinking about, too, because he's like, all right, Holy Nova, it could be annoying. Yeah, I'm going to lose a couple creatures anyway, but at least I get to keep a couple big ones out now as well.
And that guy is just so huge.
Yeah.
Holy Nova doesn't take care of it anymore. There's maybe Oh, that is not an Akanai Soul Priest, not Akanai Soul Priest number 2.
Nope. All right, so we've got the Sludge Belcher in his hand. I mean, he's got some options, but even the Sludge Belcher would get killed pretty quick. So let's see. And he can't afford, he doesn't have 10 mana yet, so he can't afford like Holy Nova into a Sludge Belcher or something. He's still going to be vulnerable at 8 health. I don't know, man. Let's see. He's going to be up to 10 with this. Down to 9 incoming minimum on the board.
I think you got to heal. The 1 damage is too easy to find.
None of your minions are really going to do you any good right now, so you might as well hero power.
If you don't play a minion, you might not ever be able to kill all the minions. I guess Akanai Soul Priest is still a chance.
Assuming your opponent doesn't kill you, you're right off the top of his deck, and he draws 2 damage.
He needs 1 more.
1 more damage off of his life tap could end the game.
And you know, we haven't seen any Soulfires. We're assuming there's a Power Overwhelming in there somewhere. I mean, so...
Doomguard, perhaps?
Yeah, well,
his favorite card?
Doomguard would work, yeah.
He's not going to life tap. He's just going to play Harvest Golem.
I feel like you're in such a dominant position, you got to.
You could still life tap and go for Defender of Argus, yeah. I mean, he's in such a good spot that he can kind of do whatever he wants, but I would life tap for the win here. We'll see. These guys are pros, though, so... I always assume they know better than me, you know?
If you play the Harvest Golem and Defender of Argus, you do have a very resilient board, though.
It's really safe. And I mean, in a tournament situation, you can never argue with ultra safe play. You know, I mean, there is such a thing as too much. Leper Gnome doesn't help him end it right here, but it really doesn't put him in any worse of a situation to have life tapped.
It gives him insurance against a full board clear.
It does.
Akanai Soul Priest is no longer an out, which means if this Leper Gnome dies without any silence effect, Hype's game 1 will come to an end. Ysera is not the answer he needs, which makes us believe that this is it for game number 1.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, man. I mean, even if he put out that Sludge Belcher and something else is not enough, there's a concede.
Oh, the well played comes out.
Yeah, Stunner coming in and taking out Hyped in game 1.
Game 1 to Zoo.
Very cool.
We haven't seen a lot of Zoo as much lately, but it is definitely still a very, very powerful deck.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's one of those decks that can just take wins off of absolutely anything if it gets rolling.
I'm curious to see what Hyped will do for the next one.
It seems as if immediately Hyped is queuing up for a mage deck. Now, we've talked about a little bit before the match even started that I believe that Freeze Mage is still very powerful in the metagame.
Well, there is that Doomsayer, the favorite card of Hyped, right in the opening hand, and that's not a bad one to have in your opening hand versus Zulog. Yeah, definite keep there for him. Ooh, good hand, though, for his opponent as well, man. Stunner really got the good draw.
Yeah, Stunner's got another pretty good one. He's got at least 2 very, very aggressive 1-drops. He wants to put the pressure on as early as possible. This is the type of hand that's going to let him do it.
And he's also on the coin, which is very valuable for the Warlock player to not only push out the curve, of course, but to get more threats out very early. You can go for 2 1-drops right off the bat.
And what's he going to coin into? I'd say Flame Imp and, oh, not for the Voidwalker? Okay. Sure, I'm fine with that. I mean, the thing is that the Voidwalker is more resilient. Obviously, Leper Gnome would just get killed almost immediately by the hero power, and a lot of times Leper Gnome can be one of those cards that can be like 4 damage, 6 damage for 1 mana, depending on the board state. But there's a Tomb Guard right away.
He says, you better have Soulfire or else this is going to activate. And it looks like there is no answer from Stunner, so he's just going to have to life tap and pass.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll life tap and draw a Soulfire.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think almost certainly he's just going to end up attacking the face. Of course, he doesn't have a way to deal with it now.
Yeah,
just a Knife Juggler. So the Doomsayer number 1, successful. Going to end up giving him a little bit more time, Hyped on the Mage.
It was really the best opening, though, that Stunner could have hoped for. He still got 4 damage done with his opening play, essentially. So, not too bad.
Hyped uses the breathing room that he got to play Arcane Intellect, develop his hand a little bit.
Yeah.
Try to build into something that he can ultimately take out, hopefully, everything that the Zoo deck can throw at him.
That's really good, too. I mean, sometimes Doomsayer is like pay 2 mana, take another turn almost, essentially. And you do take a little bit from what's on the board, but that's nothing that Freeze Mage can't handle. You can see in his hand right now, he's got an Ice Block, too. So he's even got that extra turn at the very end if he needs it.
I think he would have preferred to have his other early cards too, though, like Mad Scientist, that new card from Naxxramas that activates a secret from your deck without you having to play it. Has been extremely useful for classes, not only the 100, but Freeze Mage. People forget that it's an excellent card in this deck.
Well, there's a Frost Nova now, and usually that's paired with a Doomsayer on turn 5, but just used the Doomsayer. I'm guessing he's got another Frost Nova and another Doomsayer's deck somewhere. But I wonder where we're going to see him use this one, because he can do cool things like Frost Nova and then use Ice Lance to do 4 damage to a minion as well to kill it. So there's still lots of ways he can combo this. I like this play against the Leper Gnome because, or against the Knife Juggler rather, because if those knives hit your Acolyte of Pain, that's a lot of free draws that your opponent does not want to give you.
You're absolutely right. It probably means what's going to end up happening is that Acolyte is going to get attacked, maybe by the Knife Juggler even. Oh, he's just going to play a Harvest Golem. He's willing.
Rolling the dice.
Playing the Leper Gnome, so even if it doesn't.
Now you trade the Undertaker in there for sure then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was planning for. He wanted to, this is what he wanted, you know, he wanted to take that 1 damage on the Undertaker instead of the Knife Juggler. Didn't want to be at 1 health and let his opponent kill it with a hero power.
That's also fair. It's also fair.
Yeah.
This is a very, very powerful board that Hyped look at now. Oh, he's running Cone of Cold. Interesting.
Oh, wow. You know, people wrote that card off after it was nerfed a long time ago, going from 3 mana to 4 mana, and then it just dropped off the radar completely. But with some of these new Freeze Mage decks that use, like Mad Scientist, like you were saying, Frodan, to get some of those secrets out for free, essentially, Cone of Cold has found a spot now again. We see 1 or 2, usually 1, every once in a while.
I'm interested to see how Hyped plays this. He actually has multiple good options this turn. He's almost certainly not going to play the Frost Nova, but he's holding 2 Ice Barriers, and he needs to get them out of his hand to use them at some point.
Yeah.
Right now, his opponent's board is only so large that it basically trades with the Ice Barrier in terms of how much damage it's dealing. So he might end up using that here, but you can also use the Cone of Cold, which also buys him a lot of time, sort of buys him a lot of health.
The Ice Barrier acts similar to Frost Nova in that it buys you that extra turn. Frost Nova is a little bit more... Oh, he's going to go Frost Nova immediately. Now, this is a play that I've seen RDU make, a player from Romania who likes just utilizing every single freeze as early as possible to stall damage. It's just his priority. And it's a different approach. And most likely here, Hyped has a game plan where he can utilize things like Cone of Cold and Hero Power next turn and keep stalling out while he's able to find a way to turn the board.
Well, I mean, if you look at his hand, you see he's like 2 turns away from getting to cast that Flame Strike, and that's where this all potentially turns around. If he can get a big board clear and have his opponent, you know, the big moment he has to come back. But I think that Stunner's actually playing this really intelligently. He's not overcommitting to the board at all. He knows the type of AoE potential that the Mage has, and so far I think he's found a pretty good balance of having creatures out there and not having too many creatures out there. So if a big clear happens, you don't have a hand to respond with the next turn.
You're absolutely right. One thing we haven't seen, though, is his favorite card is the Doomguard.
That's true.
So that's definitely something that if he continues to be able to hold a little bit of pressure on the board, his opponent will have to deal with it. And if and when he does draw the Doomguard, it could possibly finish him off.
Such a scary turn for Stunner, man, because he knows the AoE is coming. 6 mana's Blizzard, 7 mana's Flame Strike. But you got to put something out there, and I think this is good. It's something, but it's not overcommitting, you know?
All right. Well, Hyped picks up more direct damage in his Fireball card, but still trying to find a way to stall for that turn 7 Flame Strike, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Let's see. Would you Cone of Cold here? I guess he is.
So.
Never mind. That's the answer to that.
This is the plan that you went for in the previous turn.
Yeah.
Surprised that he went for the immediate ping with his Hero Power on the Undertaker. Reels, explain this one for me.
Well, if he's planning on Flame Striking next plays, it's possible that he's just doing something that is...
Oh, it's true. I mean, if you do something like that, that might cause Stunner to think, oh, hey, well, if he's trying to ping down my Undertaker, then maybe he doesn't have Flame Strike and he's planning on just doing it next turn. So it's all these little mind games you can play in Hearthstone that you really need to do when you're playing a control deck sometimes to kind of get that edge.
Yeah, if he had pinged right on the opponent's hero, you know, maybe...
Oh, okay, yeah. It's a dead giveaway a lot of times, and you can see Stunner's taking a lot of time thinking about this turn. He wants to make sure that he doesn't do anything he's going to regret.
Well, Dark Iron Dwarf. I mean, if he takes an opportunity to play the Direwolf Alpha, for example, and continue to load damage on the board, he is going to be in for...
Tapping into stuff like Doom Guards and Soulfire and all that. There's a Flame Strike like we knew was happening on turn 7. Golem does come back, but that's a much smaller board than there was a turn ago.
Does Stunner run Doomguard or Soulfire? We still haven't seen it, by the way.
I'm starting to not believe it. Yeah,
30 cards of his deck by now.
Like he just said, Doomguard was his favorite to throw us off, man. He
actually
runs Arcane Golem.
He's had a great hand for getting in damage.
Oh, totally.
Just enough already. His opponent is at 12. He's going to be able to deal at least a good chunk more here. And if he does draw into that Soulfire, into that Doomguard, those could be game-ending at this point.
Well, he's in a really good spot right now, and I love playing the Nerubian Egg against Freeze Mage, because if you do that and then they use something like Blizzard, it doesn't really work, because Blizzard does the 2 damage to the egg, and then the 4/4 comes out and it's not frozen, so it kind of defeats the purpose of even playing that spell. So it's a good follow-up. We'll see if he puts it on the board or not. Doing a little bit of damage. He's going to have 5 incoming here.
He can go for 6.
He could.
Direwolf Alpha.
That is a strong damaged Golem. Nothing damaged about that Golem. Man, 6 damage, and his opponent, his remaining life halved down to 6.
That is
there's a
an
Blizzard.
excellent draw for Hyped.
It's exactly what he needed, yeah. You know,
still scary, though. He's at 6 HP.
Well, that's the thing.
Very scary.
There's a lot of ways that Zoo can still kill you from here, right? I mean, he can draw into a Doomguard. There's Soulfire. There's Doomguard Power Overwhelming, theoretically. I guess he doesn't have enough cards in his hand to do that sort of thing, but he's still in a little bit of danger.
The Blizzard was a great draw. It'll let him clear out. Oh, he's not going to use the Blizzard. Interesting. He's going to decide to go ahead and just buy a turn and get his Ice Block up right now.
This is a cool
He's worried
alternative.
about the Soulfire. He's worried about
It's a good plan.
the Doomguard.
Yeah,
Hedge your bets, and the best thing is he also can use Blizzard plus another secret in the next turn if he needs to stall for it. If his opponent has Doomguard and he plays the charge on the field and activates it, then he knows that's one less possibility he has to account for. Blizzard plus the secret next turn makes him more safe for the following turn after.
Oh, totally, yeah. And I mean, this really kind of makes his opponent wonder, too. You know, I haven't seen secrets all game. What are these? You know, is it Vaporize? Is it Mirror Entity? You know, I mean, it's probably not Duplicate, but, you know, there's a lot of options that Mage has. He's going to find out one right now. This shouldn't be a big surprise, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if he expected the other one to be Ice Block as well. That's a standard for this type of deck, and honestly, I think seeing Ice Barrier lets him know that those other secrets like Mirror Entity and all that probably aren't in this deck.
Still no sign of Doomguard or Soulfire.
I know. Doomguards just do not want to show themselves.
We're officially in a plague.
A plague of
for
no
the Zoo.
Doomguards?
No Doomguard.
The anti-Doomguard plague.
I guess so,
don't
the
know.
anti-plague, when things don't show up. Let's see. So I'm wondering, does he still play the Nerubian Egg here? Wouldn't do it by the Void Terror, but he'll still put it out there. Again, this is so strong against a mage that might be playing Blizzard.
Blizzard does allow him to fit in another secret, though, with Ice Barrier to continue to extend his life.
He did not play that Undertaker, and so that's going to be
a little bit of misordering there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of nerves there or something, but in the end, we'll see if it has a big impact. Oh, wow, Scumbag Mad Scientist shows up now.
You'll show nobody, Mad Scientist.
It's a little bit late, yeah.
There are no more secrets to be told.
Well, now this is an interesting
Pretty much.
dynamic because there's going to be coming an opportunity where Hype might be able to just use the Antonitis and gather direct damage and stall for long enough to kill his opponent if Zoo can't piece together a win condition next few turns.
That's the big question, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, he's got Antonitis in his hand. What do you think?
He still has giant monsters that need to be dealt with. And as far as we know, he may be running out of it right now.
There we go.
There is that Power Overwhelming, so that is there. We still haven't seen the Soulfire or the Doomguard.
I know, and with 2 secrets, it's so hard to get through that last 6 health. I mean, this is what Freeze Mage does all the time. This is why it's so fun to play and so aggravating to play against, because you get them down so low, and then they come back and find ways to win. I mean, it's not over yet, but it's looking a lot better now for Hype than it was a few minutes ago.
He has just at least a little bit of breathing room. He's got at least his other Ice Block.
Yeah.
And an Arcane Intellect in his hand, which promises who knows.
Exactly. Could draw a lot of stuff off that. Now, from Stunner's perspective, you probably just want to attack in here because you don't know what the secrets are. No sense Power Overwhelming yet when you don't know you'll be able to pop that Ice Block. And so, yeah, just running that Nerubian into it. Pretty easy choice there.
You still have the killing damage the following turn.
Yeah.
Ooh, hold
in
on.
theory, right? Well, there's the Ice Lance. Okay.
Hyped knows that he has at least Ice Block next turn and Ice Block the following turn.
Yeah.
He may even consider playing Archmage Antonitis and something like Arcane Intellect to hopefully find one more burn spell. He hasn't seen a Frostbolt yet, so his chances of getting something like a Frostbolt are actually pretty good. Instead, he's going to try to stall for a turn. He's going to let his Ice Lance go and turn it into a Fireball. He can always play Int next turn.
Well, this also makes his opponent have to trade a lot of stuff into Antonitis to, you know, keep that off the board.
Soulfire sighting 2014.
Interesting. So he can Power Overwhelming that egg up to about 5 attack, right? So, I mean, he's got ways to deal with Antonitis, but it doesn't look like I'm trying to see if there's a way he can deal with Antonidas and pop that ice block. That's really what he wants to do this turn, but it's not going to be easy. And I'm terrible at math, so I
don't think he has a good way to do it. Actually, he can do it, but he would have almost nothing left.
Yeah.
He has 16 damage available, and his opponent has 16 health worth of stuff that needs to die this turn.
Right.
Between Antonidas and his opponent.
That's such a big commitment to run your minions into Antonidas too, you know?
It is a big deal. He's a 5/7 minion. He's going to be eating all the minions that attack him.
Yep.
And it's going to leave him with a very, very minimal board remaining.
This is a tough one, and the thing is that now Stunner's health total is getting low enough where you start to get a little bit nervous about life tapping now.
You have to go for the trades, I believe. The Antonidas is too big a threat. He's going to first pop the block, though.
Yeah, he's hoping that his opponent doesn't have a second ice block.
Oh, he has to decide soon. The rope's burning, Doa.
That's right. He's running out of time. What's he going to do? Is he going to use the Soul Fire? Is he going to life tap this turn yet? Oh, wow, he's going to run into it to see if there's another secret, which there's not. They've all been used, but there's the ice block.
He decides to life tap.
Yeah. What is he? Did he get the life tap off?
I believe he did.
Yeah, I believe so.
What's he going to draw?
Oh, no, he did not.
He didn't get it off.
Wow.
Wow.
No, the life tap did not
The
go
mana
through.
crystals were not used up on this turn. Oh, he drew Frost Nova.
Wow.
That is such a big draw for Hype because now he can play his secret and get the ice block.
He's going to have a lot of fireballs in his hand.
And fireball this turn.
This is pretty terrifying for Stunner.
This is so. I believe that's it. There's no way to come back from this position.
Let's see. Okay,
That Frost Nova sealed the game.
I think so, man. I think he got it. That should be it. So 6 damage down to 13 health. His opponent can't kill him. There's no way he's got the ice block.
Oh, he was so low on life. He was barely hanging in there all game.
Wow.
Drawing cards, playing secrets, trying to piece together the win.
Oh, no.
Finally gets there.
That second
Amazing.
Frost Nova was so
Oh,
dead.
we can still do it, all right.
Yo, I heard you like fireballs, by the way. There's 4 in hand.
The
3
imp
of them
is
are
giving him a
golden.
little bit of taste of what's coming next turn. He's like, a bigger one is on the way.
I'll even do you one better. How about have a half fireball go to my own face with Flame Imp?
I know. Welcome to Arena, right?
Hype.
Bunch of fireballs coming in. Archmage
Surviving.
Antonidas. Wow, what a game. And we are all tied up. Guys, awesome series to start the day with.
The equalizer. That was an amazing game.
Yeah. You know, I was kind of saying some not kind things about Archmage Antonidas when I was talking to Frodan earlier. I have to change my mind. He came through in the clutch that time.
Yeah, I know. You're like, like that guy's hat looks weird.
I don't think that, yeah, I don't have a...
Onto your screen, Druid, a very powerful answer to the Freeze Mage because you can put on pressure, especially if you're running combo pieces to put out damage, and you also have healing potential if it ever gets to the stage with Alex Straza. You save your cards like Ancient of Lore, so that way you put yourself out of the direct damage range.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of Druid this is. The one that's been really popular. Okay, and there's Cenarius too. So we've got Cenarius and Haunted Creeper and Cairn in the same deck. So this looks like it might be a more higher-end ramp Druid. You know, it's probably not going to run the double combo like we saw Kalento run in EU last weekend. But I'm wondering what we're going to see. There's part of the combo right near that, that Force of Nature. But does he run 2 Force of Natures, 2 Savage Auras, or just 1 of each? I'm betting it's 1 of each with this deck.
For Hyped, Mad Scientist in his opener this time instead of all 4 secrets.
And there you go.
That is
way
a good
better.
thing.
Yeah.
One thing that he doesn't have yet is a draw spell. On the other side with the Druid for Stunner, we haven't seen, the Yeti usually means there is something like Wild Growth in the deck. He didn't get that in his opener, but he does have a 2-drop. He's thinking about what he should do now. It's a little scary to just Wrath away a Mad Scientist.
Yeah.
Instead, it looks like he might just trade for it, which is also okay.
You know, with the Yeti appearing in the deck, as well as seeing things like Haunted Creeper and a combo piece this early, I'm inclined to think he does run double combo. We've
think so?
We've seen this deck rise in popularity very recently. It's very new. So you run mid-range style with combo, and they call it a fast Druid.
Yeah, the only thing that's making me wonder if it is single is just the fact that we see Cenarius in there too, and a lot of people drop the double combo for him, but I wonder, it could be. I mean, that's the thing, is decks change so fast in Hearthstone that you know by this tournament somebody's already thought of something else to do with the Druid style, so we'll see. 2 Wraths in his hand. Gets a Yeti out there, which is not bad. Yeti's made a big appearance too lately. He's back again, isn't he?
He is, but he's not resistant to his own element because Cone of Cold
might
be in for some bad weather, your Yeti.
Yeah, the Yeti should be immune to Cone of Cold or something. Like, Reels, help us out on this one, man. I think, like, we should make special exceptions, rather, for the Yeti here.
Definitely the Flavor Police would have a field day with that one, but you know, Yeti getting frozen.
Not his department, man. We're
okay.
For all other balance complaints, maybe you can send it to @RealsHS. There
That's
you go.
right. All complaints with Hearthstone sent to this guy right here. Feel free to come up and tell him everything he should change about the game at any time. Well, not right now, but like
his
later.
phone number is 56. Oh, sorry.
His address
8675.
Well, okay, so we got the Yeti and the Spider out here. Spectral Spider, yeah, maybe we want to trade that into the Loot Hoarder just to get that off the board. Yeah, you get your opponent the draw, but whatever. Wild Growth at a very awkward time now. At this point, you might even be inclined to just save that for turn 10, where you can get the extra draw off the excess mana.
For as good as Druid is against Freeze Mage at times, right now Stunner's hand is not very aggressive. He did have the Yeti, which is a good card against Freeze Mage when you're playing as a Druid, but he might be considering using one of these Wraths to turn into a different card
Wouldn't
and
be
look
bad to
for
cycle.
additional pressure.
I think so. As Druid, you need to hit these early game mana curves as hard as possible with the strongest minion you have to constantly put pressure. Like you said, Wrath Cycle seems the best option here for Stunner. Let's see what he gets.
Yeah, going to go for the draw. The time's running out, though. He doesn't have a lot of time. He gets to swipe. Okay, so a little bit more direct damage that he can use later. All right, and why not Wild Growth, too?
He doesn't get to build into his board with additional minions this turn, but the Wild Growth will let him get to things like Cenarius sooner as the game continues on, which is also a pretty decent card against Freeze.
Well, now it's starting to get to the position where Hyped has a little bit too many cards. You can't necessarily just drop free like a Loot Hoarder Acolyte, which you normally do in the early phases of the game, because if you have too many cards, you overdraw, you might burn some of the really important ones.
Well, this has been kind of a weird game from the perspective of Hyped right now, because normally you expect a Druid to have more stuff out on the board. You expect that that Doomsayer and maybe the combination of Doomsayer and Kona Cold to be a lot more easy to play, you know, and be a lot more better looking. But we'll see.
When you're playing Freeze against Druid, it's very important to try and hold on to as much burn damage as you can to use against your opponent. Right now, that means that the Blood Mage, both Ice Lances, and the Frostbolt are essentially cards that are just sitting in Hype's hand that he doesn't want to use unless he must.
They're in the no-fly zone.
Yeah, no cast zone.
Yeah. If you want to be literal about the meaning about that.
So he's got the Acolyte of Pain, too, as well. I mean, and if he just plays it on the open board, it's just going to die to the Yeti. You know, only one card draw out of that unless he hero powers it, which would be kind of a lackluster turn. But he's going to go ahead and play that. All right. And Archmage Thalnos, even though he does have the spell power, he's also drawing. He's also cycling. And that's what Hyped is trying to do. He's trying to get rid of the cards that he can't use as well right now and get into the cards that are going to be better for clearing out the big minions that he knows are coming.
Yep. He's decided he can't wait that long to use Blood Mage for damage.
Yeah.
He decided his hand is not a winning hand, and so he's going to try to cycle through as much as he can.
Yep. So now what would you do here from Stunner's perspective? He's got the swipe. I mean, he could be hyper-aggressive and swipe to the face. He'd give his opponent 2 cards, but the only way he could deny that is by silencing with Keeper of the Grove, and I don't feel like that's worth it. I mean, when you're looking at stuff that's going to come out later in this deck, we saw Karen. I mean, you know there's taunts that you're going to want to get rid of.
He's aware that his opponent has at least one Doomsayer in his deck because he saw it last game. Keeper of the Grove is your best answer to that card. And he does have the opportunity to swipe now if he wants to, although he's very likely to save it because he would love to add to his board this turn. Playing Keeper would let him do that, but instead he's just going to cycle his Wrath and hopefully look for something else yet again.
His hand's still not looking that good, Real, so let's see what he draws. Ancient Allure, a very valuable card to keep in your back pocket.
Yeah, not bad.
Necessarily for the draws. People normally associate Ancient Allure as a card advantage. Well, not to mention the fact that it's just amazing. But you have to use it here often for the heal.
Yep.
Interesting that he decides to kill the 1/1 instead of silencing it. He would have a lot of ways to deal with the 1/1, and maybe it wouldn't be that big of a threat. But he just wants to get it out of the way and make sure that even that 1 damage does not knock away his minions, because this is his only pressure.
Well, there's also the thing, too, when your opponent has so many cards in their hand already, you're like, well, you know, what's denying 1 draw really going to get me at this point?
And the Doomsayer does come out. Hype says, okay, you've played a Keeper, I'll play a Doomsayer.
Yeah, it was a good move by Hype, but he didn't know that the second Keeper of the Grove is in his opponent's hand.
Yeah, it is ready to go. Hyped will still have answers.
Right.
He's not under any real significant pressure just yet. The Druid is very hard to finish off and kill. That Ancient Allure will definitely be a big deal, a big part of helping him keep that pressure on. But like Frodan was saying, it also is a card that you would like to, if you can, keep in your back pocket. Because eventually that Alexstrasza that Hyped drew is going to come out and put the Druid very low, and you would love to heal yourself back up immediately.
That's right. Now, what I like about this setup from Hyped is that Doomsayer, even if he or she drops, you have Flame Strike the following turn, because if the Keeper of the Grove comes out and silences, there's still 4 health perfect across the board for a Flame Strike to wipe.
Yeah.
So this still looks like a pretty good position, even if Stunner is doing the right things here.
I was wondering if he was going to do this, actually. Yeah, you can silence the Yeti and then swipe the Doomsayer. And, you know, that's a way to get through that as well, too. I wonder if he's going to want to save that swipe, though.
That was really creative.
It was. It gets the Yeti free, but another Doomsayer,
a second
though.
Doomsayer,
Yeah,
so he's got the next 2 turns locked down.
I guess so. That didn't work out bad at all. All right, so he can pair that with Blizzard if he wants to next turn. He can't do that right now. He's got enough mana to clear the board with Flame Strike, and yeah, I think that's a very reasonable turn.
Yeah, usually anytime you can get an opportunity to completely clear out a Druid opponent, you take it.
Yeah.
It buys him a little bit of time here, sort of a bit of breathing room.
The combo has arrived, guys. Force of Nature, Savage Roar in the hand, but 9 mana with nothing on the board. Might as well play that scenario.
It's the best option for you at your disposal. Put on pressure, and it sets up 3 bodies, so that way with the Savage Roar it gets optimal value.
I would not be surprised here if he does do the Blizzard Doomsayer. He could just set up secrets. He doesn't have to, but he is just going to go for it. He's just going to continue to try to have free turns as much as he can.
Yeah, he has to stay alive. I mean, that's the important thing. And the thing is that this prevents Stunner from playing his Ancient of Lore and getting a draw this turn. And even as your Drake, you don't necessarily want to play and then get the draw but lose it right away. So I wonder what we're going to see him do this turn. Maybe just Hero Power, an attack to the face and pass.
The only thing he can do to get rid of this Doomsayer is to use a piece of his combo, and I don't know if you want to get rid of that, considering that you already have both of them in hand.
Most players would want to save that at this point.
He navigated both keepers and is now able to get a Doomsayer, hopefully completely, to get it to go off. Very, very powerful thing to do against Druid.
He's doing it. He's got an MO against this Doomsayer.
I guess so. Interesting. The other thing, too, is that he could actually just go to the face with this and really reduce his opponent's life total. He doesn't necessarily have to kill the Doomsayer, but it looks like he's going to.
I wasn't so sure about the swipe clearing of the Doomsayer the previous turn, but I really like this one. Even though he's holding the whole combo, and you could think that this is maybe a bit of a waste, I really like this play. I really like keeping the 5/6.
That's a big minion to keep on the board, and it still dies to Fireball. That's the only kind of risky thing right now, and looks like it's going to be...
Malfurion brought some breath mints because Alexstrasza's coming in here and brings him down to 15 HP with a shield, or an armor rather, and now how do you deal with this Alexstrasza? You gave away your swipe.
If he had a big game hunter, that would be the easiest, best answer that Druid sometimes runs, but he is nowhere to be found. He does not have the Beast in his sights.
I wonder if it's in his deck or not. No, the Beast is definitely not in his sights. So let's see. He's got some options to draw into something that may be a little bit more helpful. We can assume he's got a second swipe in this deck, so you could Azure into that, you know, to help him clear it, possibly. Who knows?
It might be his best course of action. He needs to deal with his Alexstrasza. It's more than the fact that you're at low HP and your opponent might burn you to death. You might not have an answer to the biggest creature out on the field. You don't even have a Taunter.
Yeah, I mean, if he takes 8 damage from Alexstrasza and he knows his opponent has a lot of spells, that's terrifying. Wow, he goes for the more expensive draw.
I think he wants to draw to get to the BGH, and
double
he is
Savage
running
Roar,
double
right.
combo.
Yeah, there it is.
That is one way to deal with Alexstrasza, but it's not effective because you're giving up your own HP. This is bad news for Stunner.
Shade of Naxxramas. Okay, and let's look at the damage now over on Hyped side. Let's see. Frostbolt.
Yep, he's got 10 damage sitting in hand.
Yep. 8 plus 11. Well, that's 12 if you count the hero power.
He's got more than enough, and this is going to do it. Frostbolt, double Ice Lance, and Hyped is going to take another game and pull ahead in the series 2-1.
Very, very well navigated game by Hyped.
Yeah, really well played.
Very exact. Hyped with the utmost respect for the Aussie land, saying, I'm not going to overkill you.
What a great guy. He's only going to just beat you really hard. He's not going to make you feel as bad about it.
Very, very well played.
Now, bad news for Stunner. He's on his last deck. Let's look at the matchup card and see what's remaining for Stunner in his lineup. I believe it is a Priest. And Priest against the Freeze Mage is another class that has tools at his disposal. He's back to the board.
But he isn't just a ladder hero. He's an amazing tournament player.
Well, let's see. This opening hand from Priest right now from Stunner is not terribly inspiring. That Shadow Word Death, you know, maybe not even the strongest keep against Druid. There's not a lot of more than 4 attack minions, or rather against Mage, that is.
Yeah, pretty much just Alexstrasza and Archmage Antonidas that he knows about.
Yeah, I don't...
He's thinking about keeping it in his opening hand. I'd be surprised if he did, but maybe he feels like Alexstrasza really got him last game.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure he has an answer.
Well, there's no doubt Alexstrasza caused some problems, but to throw back this Power Shield, too, he's going to throw back everything. Let's see what he draws. This makes me wonder if he is going a little bit more on the aggressive side.
Yeah. Well, you know, Shadow Word Death was not
cards.
too far away. Just gets back in the exact same card position. It's not a bug, we guarantee you, everybody who's watching.
It tells you he's got 2 Shadow Word Deaths in this deck, which makes it much more likely that this is more of a control-oriented one. Yeah.
If he is a control priest, maybe what he was thinking is that he wanted to get Thought Steal above all else.
Oh, it could be. That's a good point.
He does have Dark Cultist, though, which is a great way to get early pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, Dark Cultist is definitely one of the best cards to come out of Naxxramas. To have that 3/4 for 3 on the board, just like numbers-wise, it's really good. And then to give something else 3 health when it dies through its Death Rattle, it's made it a really hard card to play around for the opponent, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he does offer a free card. Hyped offers a free card to Stunner here.
He does, yeah. I mean, you can attack with that Northshire Cleric, heal it up. He still has the coin, too, so he could even Power Word Shield if he wants to.
And Hyped may know that if his opponent does take the free card, it means that he's not doing anything else. And so that's fine. If you want to take the free card, go for it, as long as you're not killing me too fast. So it would be interesting to see Stunner not take the free card and coin out a Dark Cultist. I think that would be a very, very interesting line of play.
I wonder what we're going to see. I mean, it looks like he's going for the Dark Cultist here if he coins. Yeah, so just trying to build a little bit more board. And so Stunner saying, you know, I think my answer to taking this game is just to get as much damage done as early as possible and try to kill you before you can set up that impenetrable defense of like ice blocks and blizzards and flame strikes and all that.
And Hyped responds immediately with a Doomsayer.
Wow.
So he wants
not expecting
this board
that play.
not to snowball. He says, please no.
Doomsayer is his favorite card, so it seems as if he has the most experience with it. And look what it does. Denies the dream combination of double Dark Cultist, because usually when those two are on board, you guarantee a health buff to one of your creatures, but now he can't afford to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, again, it's another opportunity where the Doomsayer is almost like pay 2 mana, get another turn, you know? It gets so much value.
My kingdom for a crazed alchemist.
Right.
Okay, he has Holy Fire, a very valuable card for the priest, especially against when the Alexstrasza comes.
Yep.
And there we go. Board cleared. But the secret comes out. I wonder which one. Did we see which one that was?
He hasn't checked it yet.
Okay. We'll probably see in a moment. Because he wants to know. Although, well, we know it's one of 2 things. It's either Ice Barrier or Ice Block, and neither one is, like, terribly important right now, you know?
Every single card in Hype's hand draws a card in one way or another.
That's a pretty good hand to have then, yeah.
The earlier you get out these cards, too, the better against Priest. These can be easily swiped, or sorry, stolen by, because swipe does actually mean something in Hearthstone.
True, yeah.
It could be easily stolen. Right, we're not Dora the Explorer, guys. It can be easily stolen by the Cabal Shadow Priest.
Malfurion, no swiping. So he's going to go ahead and put the Power Word Shield on the Dark Cultist. And there's a mind control. Antonidas might switch sides later in this game. We'll see. That'd be pretty big.
So with the Ice Barrier being drawn in hand and the inability to play it, it shows that Ice Barrier is a secret that's in Hype's play at the moment. Just keep making a note of that.
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at Hype's decision to this turn, he decided to go for another Acolyte of Pain rather than playing like Arcane Intellect and just drawing 2 cards right there. And the idea is that, you know, your opponent's trying to play this more aggressively from a board building standpoint. So the minion on the board is worth more than just a couple cards in your hand at that point. That sounds like an old, like, saying that my grandmother would have told me or something. Like, a minion on the board is worth 2 in the hand. Yeah. That's what she always said, good old grandma. Played a lot of Hearthstone. Yep.
Dark Cultist almost certainly going to smash in on the full health Acolyte, but he's trying to figure out the rest of his turn. He really wants to play a minion this turn.
Yeah.
And he may even end up just playing the injured Blade Master and something like a Smite, or he might even just let the other Acolyte go, let it get pinged again, and play something like a Sludge Belcher.
You know, I kind of like the idea of smiting because you get rid of both the Acolyte of Pains. You can guarantee that you give them the minimum draws that they're going to get out of these guys. So it's probably a pretty good plan. Nope, but no, he's going to go ahead and heal up the injured Blade Master. Yeah, leaving that Acolyte of Pain alive, and maybe not well, but alive anyway.
Mage is going to draw cards. I feel like at this stage you can't deny what the Acolyte's going to do, so he's going to do whatever. Oh, wait, hold on a second. 2 Cone of Colds? I'm seeing double.
Whoa, 2 Cone of Colds. That's the first time I've seen that in a long time. Wow. It's like my Freeze Mage deck from the first week of closed beta.
I wonder if he's only playing 1 Blizzard as a result.
I think so.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because Cone of Cold is less mana intensive, and against people playing slightly more aggressive, faster decks, Cone of Cold is a better option.
Yeah, true. True. Does a little bit less damage, but it does help you control the board. And you know, we've seen what great use he's put Doomsayers to. So by the time it gets to turns, 4, 5, 6, when you'd be using these Cone of Colds, the Doomsayers have kept the board small up to that point, ideally. So yeah, you can really see kind of how his deck fits together. Ooh. It's pretty neat.
I can't wait really
almost fell over there, I guess. That's
Drunk Thalnos, go home.
Go home, Thalnos. Too much brew.
Too many souls.
I'd love to ask him about it. Hopefully I'll get a chance to later. It's possible that the Cone of Cold is not against the more aggressive decks, but against the slower decks.
Could be
because they're less likely to have 5 minions. They're more likely to only have a couple.
That's also a good point,
In the control versus control meta, you make a really good point that there generally isn't as big of a board out, and so Cone of Cold has a lot more value that way. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up.
I guess it works
it's
both
just
ways.
an extra Frost Nova that way.
It does work both ways, because it is cheaper, so you can get out earlier, but at the same time, you're only dropping 1 threat per turn, like say against Druid. Then you have Cone of Cold be very flexible.
And against the larger minions, you're not relying on something like Blizzard to actually kill them. You're just trying to stall. And so Blizzard is just to stall. Well, Cone of Cold does the same thing, but for cheaper. Sludge Belcher going to come out.
Yeah, saving that. Oh, not saving the Holy Smite. Okay, I was wondering if we were going to see him finally use that. And he will use that on the Loot Hoarder.
Man.
He's protecting his board as much as he can.
Ooh.
Ice Barrier #1. So he knows it's a long, long hill to climb at this point.
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage to push through, but he's got a pretty good board to do it with. And the big worry now is if there's like a Flame Strike in his opponent's hand or something like that.
Well,
yeah,
Flame Strike was acquired.
That. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Flame Strike, not as ideal. In fact, if he does it this time, the Dark Cultist is going to heal one of these things, so this is not a turn to Flame Strike. Exactly right. Yeah, he plays the Cone of Cold instead. He needs to kind of whittle away at some of these minions. And this is actually kind of cool. This is one of those situations where you see that big AoE clear not as valuable because of the death rattles that exist.
Yeah. He's deciding whether he wants to play Loot Hoarder or Mad Scientist. He grabbed the Mad Scientist momentarily, but he's figuring he just wants a random card out of his deck instead of specifically a secret.
I think also you're afraid of the Cabal Shadow Priest coming up on the certain turns, and you're much more willing to donate the Loot Hoarder as opposed to Mad Scientist, which is much more valuable fishing out specific cards, especially since you have Ice Barrier #2 in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of cases, you'd be much more worried about them taking away the Loot Hoarder than the Mad Scientist because of the draw. But in this case, in this deck, where you really need every single secret in your deck to make this work, then the Mad Scientist does become a bit more valuable. You'd rather give that Loot Hoarder away.
It looks like he's just going to try to keep himself out of Flame Strike range.
Yeah, playing it really slow. He's got more minions he could put out there, but he's really trying to play around this Flame Strike.
Passing with 5 mana. Now, Archmage Antonitis is one of your abilities to extend your range against classes that can heal, like the Druid, like the Warrior, and like the Priest. So, very important card that Hype just picked up here.
Yeah. He's going to need a couple more turns before he can really get value out of it. But as far as this turn goes, he's got that Loot Hoarder to do a little bit more damage to the Sludge Belcher. And really, I mean, just the concern is Flame Strike, right? I mean, because again, it's another turn where that injured Blade Master would still be a big threat, even if he, say, runs into the Sludge Belcher or something like that. I mean, okay, so there's a Blizzard. Again, just more delaying. Yep, this is how you have to play it at this point.
Well, there's not much that Priest could do about it. Just sit here and twiddle his thumbs, I suppose.
Yeah, he's going to continue to play around it. This is one of these games where nobody wants to make a move. And there's the Cabal Shadow Priest. That one might be worth throwing down there.
That is good taken right there. You deny your opponent to fish out one of his very important secrets. And like we said, that Loot Hoarder was to test to see if you had the Cabal Shadow Priest.
Exactly. And I love this. Every turn he keeps healing that injured Blade Master. He keeps making it so hard for his opponent to play Flame Strike. This is one of the best stalling techniques against Freeze Mage I think I've ever seen.
That injured Blade Master's been through a lot.
He has.
He's earned a Purple Heart.
He's been injured many, many times. That's right. Look at Dr. Stunner's on the case. That sounds like a wrestling name or something, though.
Dr.
If
Stunner.
I was like a professional wrestler, my ID would be Dr. Stunner, I think.
There you go.
That'd be a good one.
You can tag team with this guy from
The
Australia.
crowd's not a big wrestling crowd, I guess, but that's okay, guys.
It's before their time, don't worry.
Would you or would you not wear shades?
Shades?
Yeah.
I think you only wear shades for dramatic effect when you're delivering some sort of momentous line, you know?
Okay.
I guess you
I got
even
what
as
you're
Dr.
saying,
Stunner.
man.
paramedics, you just got
the stunner shades.
stunned or something. I don't know.
Well, from here, Hype still has a lot of opportunities to start attacking the board while clearing the board while stalling. He's pieced together a lot of damage too with fireballs and with Antonitis in hand. So by no means is he hurting for a win condition.
So he does have 2 blizzards then. Interesting.
Two blizzards,
yeah,
two
full
phone
suite.
calls.
He does.
Yeah, he's got the Freeze Mage Deluxe.
Paid for the extra options.
That's right.
Well, so
All the
this turn,
works.
I mean, he's got an option to play that secret, right? It's pretty comfortable, and then he's got the Frost Nova to lock everything down. That was a good draw, actually. That Frost Nova really made that turn a lot easier for him. And now he's going into turn 10, so he's going to have the Archmage and the ability to start building up fireballs in his hand again.
Wow, Lothep is a very important card to disrupt the flow of spells from the mage.
Well, the nice thing about Lotheb is that your opponent just can't place Flame Strike when you play Lotheb. I mean, it's literally impossible for the mage to do it.
It's interesting that he decided to play the freeze there. It did sort of gain him a lot of life, but he has a lot of life. He could have taken 1 turn off and sort of let his opponent hit him with just, you know, the ice barrier up.
You're
and
saying
not
that
really
do
worry
like
about it. Save the freeze for a
Archmage
larger
and then
board.
Frost Nova next turn, possibly?
Exactly,
Yeah.
something like that.
Would be a good option.
I mean, little does he know that his opponent has a mind control in hand. But
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think that's what he's probably really worried about. I wonder how aggressively we're actually going to see him play this Antonitis, because against this Priest, you know they've got a mind control somewhere in that deck. And that's one of the things that could really turn it around.
All right. Well, Lotheb comes here and shuts down, well, not shut down, but make it very difficult for spells to be played.
that is a lot of red numbers.
Yeah, 12
Yes.
mana Flame Strike, that's tough to get around. So, and I mean, now he doesn't even have an Mage Antonitis play. I mean, he can put it out there, it would just immediately die. It wouldn't get any benefit to him. This is a tough turn.
And I wonder if Stunner also played around Cone of Cold instead of like dropping Lotheb on the other side by the Dark Cultist and the Injured Blade Master, tries to make it as awkward as possible so freeze the least amount of minions.
Well, he knows Cone of Cold is in there too, so
Right.
yeah, it makes it easy to kind of
Well,
use
this-
your positioning to play around it. So I'm sure he did that. Yeah.
This is the second Cone of Cold too, so it's just
I know. Right now, Stunner's like, what is this deck, man? 2 Cones of
Have
Cold.
you no shame.
Yeah.
All the freeze mage.
Yeah.
All of the.
Well,
That's right.
from the Priest player's perspective, you're still not working with a lot of damage, and you still want to pressure your opponent, but you're constantly heal things out of range. This is so annoying for the Priest player.
You just keep grinding them down at this point. I mean, that's all you really can do is not overcommit to the board and just keep doing your amount of damage that you can. And I mean, to be fair, you know, not counting the armor or whatever, he was able to do 8 damage to this turn, and so it's not a bad start.
Trade with the secret, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh my. Let's
Lot
count
of
how much
burn hand.
damage is going on here.
A
Fireballs
lot.
are 12, and the Frostbolt Ice Lance combination is 11, so that's 23 damage, assuming he can get this out in the course of a couple turns.
He's got to get there.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's the tricky part. Well, let's see. What would this removal get him right now? If he used Flame Strike, he'd still have a couple minions to deal with. He'd still have that Injured Blade Master still on the board. And the Cabal Shadow Priest would be around too. One of those would get a heal from the Dark Cultist. Arcane Intellect, he's going to see what he draws into, I suppose. Maybe if he plays that. He's also got the Blizzard too.
Yeah.
That
Arcane
would
Intellect heavily
kill a few
implies he
things.
wants to use Blizzard this turn.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, the other thing, too, is he could also, well, I mean, he could Blizzard and he could finish off the Dark Cultist and, you know, get that healing onto something else. And, I mean, that's one way where, all right, that 3 health is out there and now I can deal with it. It's not any sort of big threat,
Wow.
but
It's
not yet. No.
Blizzard, please.
Reels, please. Remember, Reels is responsible for everything in
right.
Hearthstone. Reels,
Yeah.
please.
I'm responsible for everything. I thought Raynad invented
We've
it all.
made this well, he's the other guy, maybe, but you're here, so.
Well, you can
All right.
report it to
You're the one we're
Raynad
talking to.
later on.
I will pass that feedback on to
All right.
you know,
Report immediately to Lord Raynad.
to those
All right.
responsible, whoever they may be.
Well, once again, turn with the board completely frozen for Stunner.
Yep.
And look at this. He's just going to Holy Nova,
He always wants to heal up his minions every turn.
I guess.
Seems like a pretty solid option.
Yeah, I mean, and then he can heal up Lothab. So again, just things are out of Flame Strike range. It's so insane to see a game where Priest can keep this many minions from not dying to Flame Strike. Oh, well, there's a Doomsayer.
That's a big deal.
It is.
How do you kill this Doomsayer, in fact, if you're the Priest player?
Let's see. There's not really.
You can't do
There's
much.
There's not really a way to do it. I mean,
oh, man.
You mind control it totally.
Right.
No,
this is a tough decision.
Now he's mine. Oh,
by the way, still no Ice Block for Hype. In the bottom 3 cards of his deck, 2 out of 3 of them are Ice Block.
That is unfortunate.
That's hilarious, actually.
If he had an Ice Block up, he'd love to just slam Alex Straza right now.
That's right. So the question is, I mean, obviously Doomsayer's got to come down. I mean, I think that's kind of a given.
He could play Archmage and freeze.
He could do that. But wouldn't it be useful just to clear this whole board? Because finally, you know, the problem that he's been dealing with the whole game is the health from the Dark Cultist going out there. Alex Straza,
This gives the ability for Priest to push heavily with Shadow Word Death and Holy Fire to extend out of range.
Let's count this damage. All right, so 7 plus 9. So 16 out on the board, and he's got 27
health.
All right.
I think he's made a very clever assumption that his opponent can't finish him off, and that's the truth right there. Shadow Word Death.
Holy Fire to extend out of range.
Okay.
But he's slightly out of range, I believe. But I think Hype realizes last 2 out of his 3 cards remaining are Ice Block. So most likely he'll draw it, he'll be able to push out damage, and over the course of the next couple of turns, he's guaranteed the ability to continue to live.
I think that's
Priest
the
can't
theory.
keep extending.
There's
Ice Block was an important draw, but the chances were pretty high for that.
He had a 2 out of 3 chance to draw it. That's true. So that's definitely going to come out this turn. But let's count up the damage here. Okay, so he has the Frostbolt. He's got the 10 damage from the Frostbolt and the double Ice Lance, so there's that. He's got 1 Fireball, so that's 16 in total. And he's got Archmage Antonidas as well, too. So do you think this would be a turn to maybe Antonidas into Ice Block just to get that extra Fireball?
I like starting pushing out your Fireballs you do have. I don't think you need to collect more
he's got 2
Fireballs.
That's true, yeah. All right.
I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. If you just Ice Block and start burning your opponent down.
I wonder if he'll ping or if he'll decide to Frost Nova. Both of them are pretty good. Frost Nova buys you a turn where you can probably use your Antonidas if you did need to. And he's going to go ahead and use the Ice Lances.
Yeah, just getting his opponent as low as possible because, again, you know, 2 Fireballs, that's 12 damage. His opponent can only heal up with the hero part for 2, and he already used his Holy Fire as well. So
Stunner needs something big, a second Holy Fire in order to live.
That's right. He's already used his Holy Nova as well. Circle of Healing only hits minions. It does not heal him. So that may actually be, is that just game? Because he can only heal up to 11. His opponent's going to bring at least 12 into him, so I think that's just game.
There's no way for him to live as far as
That's
I see.
right. Well, his opponent has Ice Block too, so even if there was some way that he could get through that 6 health, it wouldn't even matter. Yeah, no more healing or anything like that. That is it. 2 Fireballs in the hand for Hyped. He is going to take the series.
Stunner doesn't know it yet. He's still trying to figure out what his best chance of winning is.
Well, he still needs to kind of play it out because you don't know. I mean, your opponent's... The thing is, though, is if he looks at how many cards his opponent has, it's so likely that both of those Fireballs are in there. So I think he probably knows what's coming, but you still have to play it out. Sludge Belcher's a good play, of course. Another thing.
Turn.
Yeah, and
second Ice Block for good measure. That's going to do it. Hyped will take this series 3-1 and advance to the winners match of Group A.
What a cool series, too. That was a lot of fun, man. A lot of good games in there. And the power of Freeze Mage back again.
Great play by Hyped. Doing it with his favorite card, Doomsayer.
Yep.
He navigated an extremely difficult game 2 against Zoo. Barely got that win and was able to carry it through all the way the whole series.
Doing it with Doomsayer.
Now, I do want to commend Stunner playing very sharp with making sure to constantly make the Freeze Mage uncomfortable. You saw that there were several turns where Hype just didn't